How did India, once an impoverished British colony, transform into one of the world's fastest-growing economies? This is a question that takes us back to the year 1947, when India emerged from the shadows of British colonial rule. It was a time of great promise, but also of immense challenges. India began its journey of independence with a staggering burden of poverty. Millions lived below the poverty line, struggling day to day for basic necessities. The literacy rate was another critical issue. A significant portion of the population was illiterate, posing a major hurdle to progress. Infrastructure too was in a deplorable state. Roads, railways, ports, the very backbone of an economy, were inadequate for a country of India's size and population. But the spirit of a newly independent nation was indomitable. Despite these daunting challenges, India dared to dream. It dared to envision a future where poverty was eradicated, where every citizen was literate, and where robust infrastructure paved the way for economic prosperity. With the dawn of independence, India embarked on a journey of economic transformation, a journey that would witness the rise of a nation from the depths of poverty to the heights of economic growth, a journey that is still ongoing and promises to take India to even greater heights. As a newly independent nation, India adopted a mixed economic model, but what did this mean for its growth? In the 1950s, India embarked on a journey of self-reliance. The country's leadership believed that a mixed economy, combining elements of both capitalism and socialism, was the way forward. This model was influenced by the Fabian school of thought, which advocated for a blend of private and public sectors. The government initiated a series of 5-year plans, inspired by the Soviet Union, to give a strategic direction to the economy. These plans focused heavily on public sector industries, with the belief that they were the engines of growth. This was a time when India, under the leadership of its first Prime Minister Jawaharlal Nehru, invested heavily in sectors like steel, mining, and heavy industries, the pillars of a growing economy. As we journey through the 1960s and 70s, we see a nation striving for growth within its chosen economic framework. The growth was slow but steady. The economy expanded at an average rate of around 3 to 4% per year, a phenomenon often referred to as the Hindu rate of growth. This was a period of modest growth, but it set the foundation for India's future economic trajectory. The emphasis on public sector dominance continued through the 1970s and 80s under the leadership of Indira Gandhi. The policies during this phase were characterized by stringent regulations and protectionism. While these measures were aimed at promoting domestic industries, they often stifled competition and innovation. Despite the steady growth by the 1980s, India realized the need for more dynamic economic reforms. As the decade drew to a close, the nation was poised for a significant shift. The stage was set for a new economic narrative, one that would transform India's economic landscape in the decades to come. But that's a story for the next scene. For now, let's reflect on the journey thus far, a journey of a nation finding its economic footing, a journey of slow but steady growth, a journey that laid the groundwork for a more prosperous future. The 1990s marked a turning point in India's economic journey. How did this decade reshape India's economic landscape? It was a time of profound transformation, a time when the country shook off its shackles of the past and embraced the future. The pivotal moment came in 1991 with the introduction of economic liberalization. This was a radical break from the past, a shift from a state-controlled economy to one that was open to the world. The government slashed import tariffs, deregulated markets, and opened up to foreign investment. It was a gamble, but one that paid off handsomely. The economy responded with a surge in growth rates, outpacing many of its global peers. But the impact of these reforms went beyond just numbers. They sparked a revolution in the Indian business sector, particularly in the information technology industry. The liberalization allowed the IT industry to flourish, turning cities like Bengaluru into bustling tech hubs. Indian companies not only began to dominate the domestic market, but also made their mark on the global stage. The 1990s also saw the emergence of Indian billionaires, a testament to the country's growing wealth. The rise of these tycoons was a symbol of India's economic dynamism, a sign that the country was not just catching up with the rest of the world, but in some areas, it was leading the way. The economic liberalization of the 1990s was not without its challenges. There were growing pains, and not everyone benefited equally from the surge in wealth. but the overall impact was transformative. It set the stage for a new era of accelerated growth in India, an era where the country moved from the periphery to the center of the global economy. The economic liberalization of the 1990s set the stage for a new era of accelerated growth in India. It was a decade that changed the country's economic trajectory and laid the foundation for the prosperity we see today. Entering the 21st century, India's economy experienced an unprecedented boom. What were the key drivers behind this? To understand the meteoric rise of India's economy, one must first look at the significant shifts in various sectors. The information technology and service sectors played a crucial role, turning India into an outsourcing hub for global giants. This wasn't just about cost-effectiveness, it was the skill, talent, and dedication of the Indian workforce that made this possible. Now let's talk about foreign investment. The 21st century saw a surge in foreign direct investment, a testament to the international business community's confidence in India's economic potential. This influx of investment sparked growth across sectors, from manufacturing to retail, creating jobs and fueling economic expansion. Improved literacy rates also deserve a mention. As more Indians learned to read and write, they became more employable, leading to increased productivity. And with an educated workforce at its disposal, India was able to take advantage of the global demand for skilled labor. Cities like Bangalore emerged as tech hubs, earning the moniker Silicon Valley of India. With a thriving startup ecosystem and a pool of tech-savvy talent, these cities became the engine of India's digital economy. They attracted global tech firms, further boosting the country's economic growth. Moreover, the rise of Indian billionaires and the success of Indian companies on the global stage exemplify the strides India has made in the 21st century. From being a country once dependent on aid, India has transformed into a nation that is a significant contributor to the global economy. In the realm of international relations, India's shift from non-alignment to closer ties with global powers like the United States also had economic implications. This strategic move allowed India to counterbalance the influence of other regional powerhouses, notably China, and bolster its own economic standing. By the early years of the 21st century, India had firmly established itself as a global economic player. The country's economic landscape had been reshaped and the stage was set for future growth and possibilities. From an impoverished colony to a global economic player, India's journey has been nothing short of remarkable. But what does the future hold? As we look back on the milestones that have marked India's economic journey, it's evident that the country has come a long way since its independence in 1947. In the 25 years that followed, India took its first steps towards self-sufficiency, navigating through the 50s to the 80s with a focus on agriculture and manufacturing. The game-changing 90s marked a transformative shift as India opened its doors to foreign investment, a move that spurred significant economic growth and saw the rise of billionaires and tech hubs like Bengaluru. The dawn of the 21st century brought with it a boom that propelled India to the world stage as a significant economic player. With a GDP nearing $3 trillion and a life expectancy that has risen to 70 years, India's progress is undeniable. Yet the journey is far from over, as the country continues to grapple with challenges of poverty and inequality. Looking ahead, the future of India's economy shines bright with potential. The renewable energy sector, for instance, promises immense growth, aligning with global efforts to combat climate change. The digital economy, too, holds vast potential, with India's tech hubs poised to become the nerve centers of global innovation. But perhaps the most exciting possibility lies in the realm of space exploration. India's growing wealth has not only fueled its ambitions on Earth, but also in the cosmos, setting the stage for the country to become a significant player in the space industry. As we usher in 24, India stands on the cusp of new economic possibilities, ready to script the next chapter of its remarkable journey. As we stand on the brink of a new year, we can only imagine the heights that India will reach in its relentless pursuit of growth and prosperity.